Good morning everyone and welcome to the Trinity Open Day. My name is Leah Keogh and I'm the current president of Trinity College Dublin Students' Union. So the panel today is called Why Choose Trinity, and I thought I'd answer that by telling you why I chose Trinity. So I chose Trinity for so many reasons, but the first one was definitely because of its diversity. We've students here from over 120 different countries. There's a fantastic mix of students. The second one was, I think, the creative approach to teaching and learning. I studied social work and really enjoyed both the practical element and the digital element and traditional forms of teaching and learning. So that was good enough for me. And finally, student life, which I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about today. I chose Trinity for the variety of societies, 120 different clubs and societies, which the guys will be telling us all about a little bit later. We also host Europe's biggest outdoor private party called the Trinity Ball, which sold me. So I chose Trinity for so many reasons, and hopefully you guys will too. So I'd like to now introduce you to our speakers. First up, we have our students, Claire Strafford and Matthew Simons. We have Professor David Shepherd, Dean of Undergraduate Studies, and Orla Bannon, Director of the Career Service. So the title of this talk is Why Choose Trinity? And who better to ask than our current students? So first of all, Claire, why did you choose Trinity?
Well, my decision-making process was very definitely course-led. I knew that I wanted to study English literature, and as far as I was and am concerned, the English course in Trinity is unparalleled, but I wasn't sure about committing to a single honours degree. So the Trinity Joint Honours programme was excellent because it gave me the opportunity to try a few different things. I could end up with a single or a joint honours degree or a major minor, which is what I've gone with in the end, and even doing like open modules and electives from other disciplines. So really, I was convinced before I'd even seen the place, but then once I came up and I saw the beautiful buildings and I spoke to some of the students, I was 100% sold.
Brilliant, thank you. And Matthew, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm similar enough to Claire. A big part of why I chose Trinity was the course, because I didn't really know what I wanted to pick, so I chose to study BESS, which offered me a wide range of degrees to actually specialise in. And also it's just the general, I think Trinity has a really great atmosphere. I mean, the campus is amazing, like right in the heart of town. And I can tell just by talking to alumni and people who are currently in the college that Trinity does really have a great atmosphere, a great culture on campus, and as you said, like a great selection of clubs and societies as well. So I was ready to just dive in.
Absolutely. And Claire, what has your best student experience been so far?
Well, I'm not sure I could really pin it down to one thing, and maybe that's a consequence of COVID and being off campus, but in spite of that, I've still had a great student experience. And I think it's an amalgamation of the friends I've made in my course and 100% my time that I spent in societies, and also just being at the centre of things, in the heart of Dublin, getting to experience Dublin and having all of those facilities right on your doorstep, you know. And I do remember in first year thinking that I was feeling actively happy a lot of the time as opposed to kind of passively content, and that's really amazing. That's an irreparable experience and I'm really grateful for it.
Brilliant, thank you. And Matthew, what about you, your best student experience?
Yeah, so mine was definitely getting involved in sports. On one hand, I made so many amazing friends that I'll have my whole life, as well as just the general, it's great to I think to be actively involved in sports for health and mindfulness and all that kind of stuff, and then as well in the sort of organisational aspect of being involved in clubs, committees, and Trinity Sport as well, has been a really great educational experience for me. So
Brilliant.
Definitely sports.
Fantastic, thank you. And I suppose to move on to the next question, we all remember the dreaded CAO.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you any top tips for students who are thinking about applying for the CAO right now?
Well, my top tip would definitely be to look at the course description. Don't assume that a subject in one university is the same as that subject in another university. It's really good to have a look at what you'll actually be doing if you attend, and also to speak to the students. There's a great opportunity to do that with Open Day, and they'll give you a real feel of like the atmosphere and how the students feel about the college, which is, you know, ideal. And then in terms of first year, join societies, definitely join societies. Everyone will tell you that's like unequivocally the best way to make friends, and we have about 130 societies in Trinity. So we have, you know, music, performance, language, culture, science, politics, arts and crafts. We have knitting, juggling, yoga, so many different societies, so much to choose from and something for everyone. And I definitely think like there's so many facilities within those, like trips and classes and opportunities that are available to you in university that will never be as freely available to you again, and you get to make the most of these with people from outside your course who you wouldn't necessarily meet otherwise, and you can become best friends with them. So I cannot recommend that enough if you really want to get the absolute most out of first year.
It really does sound like there is something for everybody.
Yeah.
And Matthew, yourself, what would you say to students who want to make the most out of their first year?
I definitely say jump in as much as you can, whether it's into your course or clubs or societies. College is really one of those things where you can kind of take it handy or you can get really heavily involved, and I definitely encourage people to get as involved as you can. As you say, there is 100%, there is something for everyone. There's just such a wide array of clubs and societies and everything, and they're all really great, they're really well run, and there's so many great people that you'd meet. So yeah, definitely just get as involved in whatever it is going on campus that you can.
Am I right in thinking there's a Quidditch society? Have I made that up?
I think there is, yeah, maybe don't quote me on that, but I think there might be.
Something for the Harry Potter fans. Thanks, guys. So I might pass over to David, who is the Dean of Undergraduate Studies. David, I wanted to ask you what you think makes Trinity so special, and why so many students choose to study here.
Sure, yeah. I mean, my daughter's going to be delighted. There's a Quidditch society, I have to say. She'll be here straight away. I think already, these folks have already given us a hint as to why, and certainly in my conversations with students, there's no doubt that part of the reason they come is because Trinity is a very special place. The place itself is really special. And if you think about, outside the front gates of Trinity, you have one of the most fantastic cities in the world. I mean, Dublin is a fantastic city. I mean, there's an incredible buzz. We're right on, basically on the doorstep of Grafton Street, and there is just a real buzz just outside the front gate. And then you walk through the front gate, and you're into, in a sense, almost, it's kind of the best of both worlds, because then you're into a completely different space, but a really special place. Again, the buildings, the cobblestones, as you walk across those cobblestones, and you know that you're walking in the footsteps of, extraordinary graduates of this extraordinary university. And so I think there's something about the place. It's unique, really, in Ireland and and around the world. There's something really special about the place. But I think, and we've already heard this, there's something special about the people.
Yeah.
And I think partly it's about the fact that when you come to Trinity, the world is coming to Trinity. I mean, it's one of the most international universities in the world, amongst the top 20 international universities in the world. And it's incredible to think. I was just reading out the names at graduation, and you're reading names from all around the world. And it's just extraordinary. And so the chance to come and study and mix with and meet people from all corners of this world is incredible. And I think, too, that it's not just about students and people from around the world. It's also students and people from around the corner, in a sense. I mean, from all different walks of life. Yeah. And I think Trinity has a reputation for being some sort of ivory tower, but in fact, you walk across the campus, you're in class with people from everywhere across this island,
yeah,
from all walks of life, from all different kinds of backgrounds. So it's not just like there's one type of person who's coming to Trinity. And so I think special place, special people is what really draws people to Trinity.
Agreed. It really is a world inside of itself. And something I was delighted to see was that diversity, as you said, people from around the world, but also from around the corner. That's a great line. And I suppose at this stage, I wanted to speak to the work that we do at the Students' Union, to let the students listening at home know about the services that are available to them. So as the Students' Union, we represent all 19,000 students here at Trinity College Dublin. Everybody is automatically a member, and it's our job to help students to navigate any obstacles that arise during their student experience and ultimately to enhance their student experience. And I suppose we do that in two ways. So we have a campaigns branch of the union which advocates for students and all of the various college bodies locally, nationally. We run a number of campaign weeks throughout the year, and there's something for everybody. Body and Soul Week, Mental Health Week, Anti-Apartheid Week, lots of different types of weeks. And then I suppose to move to the services provision, you can get your LEAP card with us. We provide a number of sexual health, I suppose, things for students. We also have tuck shops if you want to come and get your lunch. And there's something for everybody, and it's our job to, I suppose, ease your transition to college. So we also work for you and are here for you. So I thought that was important to know. So I might loop back to David, if that's okay. And I wanted to ask you, what support does Trinity provide to help students transition from Trinity from secondary school?
Yeah, it's very much on my mind because I have a daughter who's making that transition right now. So I'm thinking about it myself and thinking about how important it is that there is help in order to make that transition. And I think a hugely important part is the orientation process and the 12-week sort of orientation package that we've got here at Trinity, which helps students to adjust to the new realities academically, so study skills, and other things that are going to be new to them coming to college. And there's lots of news. Of course, it's study, but it's a new kind of study. So there's that. But also, part of that orientation is getting used to life at university, which is in some ways quite different in a way from life in secondary school. And so how do I manage my money? How do I look after myself, actually, because my mommy's not here anymore. Yes. So those are the kinds of things which the orientation, helps students with. And I think it's really important for that kind of bedding in period, just at the beginning of term, to have that sense that there are people around to help me. And I think, and actually, what kinds of people are there to help you? Staff, at one level, because of course what we have, which is quite a unique thing about Trinity, is we have tutors. Each student gets a tutor, and that tutor is there as a kind of resource, as a sounding board, somebody who can come alongside you and often point you in the direction of people who can help you with particular things. But also one of the wonderful things here, I think, for students in speaking with them, is the opportunity to actually connect with another student. And so there's wonderful opportunity, S to S, student to student, where students actually, look, they get to hear from people who've been there and done that. They've gone through it before, and they can point people, students, fellow students, to the things that have actually helped them to make it through their first year. So, I think the combination of things, and some people will really depend more on the student mentor, other people will probably be in touch with their tutor, and different students respond differently, all of them benefiting from the orientation at the start. So, I think there is a lot. It gives me some comfort that students aren't just left to float about here.
Absolutely. And I suppose in the same vein, Claire, how has Trinity supported you as a student?
Oh my goodness, in so many different ways. I would have had a student-to-student mentor as well, and that was so great. It was like having a meta leader almost again, who would like to have someone relating to your experience as you were transitioning. It was fantastic, and we had classes on writing essays and using the library. There's college health. It was so great to be able to get COVID tested and vaccinated on campus without leaving campus. That was so good. And the welfare, mental health systems, TCD Headspace, Nightline, the SU, of course. And now that I'm in third year, I've been engaging with careers a bit more and availing of like the CV clinics and all that kind of mentoring and stuff like that. So it's really fantastic. And I think people are probably a bit apprehensive about coming to college and the formality of it, and maybe a perceived detachedness between lecturer and student, but that's not been my experience at all. I think one of the best things about Trinity is how looked after you feel. Everyone has been so kind and helpful and so willing to answer your question, or maybe even if they're not necessarily the right person to ask, they've been so nice about directing you to the person and making sure that you get any help that you need.
Absolutely. And I've been, as a recent graduate, availing of the career service too. They're fantastic. And Matthew, what about yourself? Do you feel supported as a student here in Trinity?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as it's already evident, there's so many supports that are structurally in place, such as the health service or academic services, if you need help essay writing. But I think for me, really the biggest thing, and it's sort of unquantifiable, is the community, just the general community, as you say, the students. It's so great. There's so many people to talk to. I think one of the things that always caught me in first year in college when I joined is everyone everywhere is just so friendly and helpful. You could literally, it feels talk to anyone, and there's other students in your year struggling like you, and you can work together. But even just lecturers, staff, people who work in sport or wherever it is, it's really, really helpful. No matter what the issue is as well, even if you just want someone to talk to for a cup of tea. I think it was especially evident over the pandemic. I think a lot of people felt really, really alone, but it was great to see so many club societies, just lectures, college classes, tutorials, everything. Everyone just came together and even from your laptop screen at home, you could get the sense of community that like the college really has. And I think that's definitely the biggest support that I found, just the general people around, like, you know.
Brilliant. And Matthew mentioned the pandemic, and hopefully we're coming out towards the other end of it. There's definitely a buzz about campus. What are you most looking forward to about the return to campus full time?
Well, for me, definitely the resumption of societies and events and activities. I mean, as you said, it kind of speaks to the community. Societies and clubs did such an amazing job of transferring themselves online and keeping themselves going during the pandemic, and it was such an amazing display of innovation and determination, and speaks to the college community that they did keep going, and they were such a lifeline for a lot of people to be able to socially engage, especially for first years. But I think we're all looking forward to kind of getting back in action as we were pre-pandemic, and we're already seeing that a little bit. We have gazebos on campus at the minute, so there's lots of outdoor events happening in those, like coffee mornings, music sessions, dancing. I saw flower arranging, you name it, and it's happening. And also some of our rooms are opening again, like the debates chamber in the GMB and the Players Theatre. But I think everyone's really looking forward to getting back to going on trips abroad and having concerts and balls and stuff like that, and really achieving a good work-life balance.
Definitely. And Matthew, what about you?
I think it's just having that general buzz on campus again. Like, you know, like it's been said, the culture, when you walk through the doors, you can just feel it, like there's people just hustle bustle around. I mean, it's really great. And obviously with the pandemic, that wasn't around. But even now, in the recent days when college is kind of fully back open, I think it's really great. Like it's something so special. So definitely I'm very glad that that's back.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Yeah.
David, what about you? What are you most excited about the return?
Well, I'm really, you know, it's wonderful to look forward to being able to teach in person. I mean, people did a magnificent job. Students, teachers, lecturers, they did a fantastic job of being able to interact and teach online. And it's amazing what we could do. And it's strange because I'll enjoy teaching in person, but actually, it's not the teaching in person probably that I'll enjoy the most, that I'll appreciate the most. It's the bits, the before and the after. It's the before and the after. It's, you know, it's the conversation that you have with the student that kind of stays behind class, after class. Or maybe you're walking, you know, off to the next class and you're just having a conversation. That's the kind of thing which I'm going to enjoy the most, because that's the thing that I think was most difficult. You know, you zoom in, you zoom out, you know, and you don't have the crack, basically.
Yeah.
You know, you just miss the crack. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Definitely. I think we all are, as I said. That in between, as you said, the before and after, it's so important, and I think it's what we've been missing, so more of that, hopefully. Orla, I'm going to come to you now, if that's okay. So Trinity has recently been ranked as having the best employer reputation in Ireland, which is fantastic and something I learned recently. As Director of the Career Service, could you hazard a guess as to why this is the case?
Well, I think, Leah, it's quite simply down to the hard work and commitment of our students and our graduates. And how I think this ranking, you know, this was the first ranking that came out when employment and graduate employment aspects were affected by the pandemic, and we were all a little bit anxious about what was going to happen. But I think this ranking is a real endorsement of how much employers value a Trinity education and what a Trinity education actually means to an employer. They know that a student coming out who's been to Trinity has developed expert knowledge, great skills, great attributes, and that's what they want in their workplace, and they're the graduates they want in their workforce. And I think that ranking really, really supports that. Also through this ranking, we saw, David mentioned our graduates that set foot on the cobblestones. We also scored the highest ranked university in Ireland for successful alumni, which is a great achievement. And I know Claire mentioned the mentoring programme, and through that, we enable our students here to meet with those alumni through that programme. And also we're in the top 50 universities in the world for graduate employment, which is a fantastic achievement. And I think all of that really underpins everything that we do here at Trinity to support students to develop their employability skills and to prepare them for the modern workplace of the future.
Absolutely, and I suppose in the same vein, how does Trinity prepare students for their career? I suppose after university, we've mentioned the CV clinics and a couple of other mentorship programs. I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah, and I suppose taking a more holistic view of it, it's not just what we do in the career service, which I'll talk about a little bit, it's everything that everyone has spoken about here today.
Right.
It's the academic programs, it's the engagement with your academics, your teachers, your lecturers, and working with them. And they're all at the cutting edge of their research. So you're learning about what's happening in their sectors, in their areas. You're learning about their expertise and maybe tapping into some of their networks, which are really, really important for students to develop their networks and develop a base of contacts while they're here. So academics can be very helpful for that. We also do a lot of, and we've talked a lot about, Claire and Matthew have talked a lot about extracurricular and clubs and societies. That's really valuable for when you go and you graduate and go into the workplace.
Yeah.
And one of the things we do is work with our students to really articulate what they've learned, how they've developed, and what that can bring to the workplace, and to be able to articulate that very, very clearly to an employer. We also have a couple of things that are quite unique here at Trinity for students. We have the Trinity Employability Award, which we run with our partner employers, and we do that across a range of sectors, because obviously we have a lot of links in the corporate world, but we know a lot of students at Trinity are interested in not-for-profit work and for kind of working for social change. So we also include organisations that work in that space in our Employability Award, and want to give students kind of a breadth of the types of experiences and roles that are out there for them. And we're also a partner in the International Laidlaw Network. We're the only university in Ireland in that network. And that's a funded research and leadership programme for undergraduates. It's quite a unique programme. It's an international programme, and it's great for our students to get involved in. Something you've mentioned earlier on, Leah, was about the diversity of our community here in Trinity. And that's really important for students to kind of learn those kind of intercultural skills, because our students aren't just going to work here in Ireland, they're going to work globally. So you need those skills to be able to work in the global workforce. And I suppose I'm delighted to hear two of you here have been working with the Career Service. So I suppose for my own team, we work with students right from the start of their journey here at Trinity. So you don't have to be in third year or fourth year to come to us. Right from first year, we're involved in the orientation programme that David spoke about. And we work with students all the way through their programme to really give them touch points where they can think about where do I want to go, what's my options, even if they're making subject choices. If I want to go into a career in X, what do I need to pick in second year to be able to do that type of thing? So we can give an awful lot of guidance on that. We do CV interview preparation. We've a very experienced careers team, professionals in the area, so students can come and meet them one-to-one. We do a lot of work with employers, and that you're talking about the buzz around campus. Normally we have big careers fairs here. We have about 200 employers in, 4,000 students at a big event, and we're really looking forward to being able to do those again. So I think there's a lot there, and we're there for students all the time. And we also have a stand at the open day here today. So if anyone has any questions they want to ask us, feel free to come along, and hopefully we'll be able to answer them.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, Orla. And thank you all for giving us your 2 cents and talking about your own experience here in the college. And thank you to all of you who are listening today. We have an action-packed day ahead of us. There'll be a number of things going on. There's lots of presentations. You'll be able to chat to our professors here, various student members and staff members. And there are a number of campus tours, so do get involved with those. And don't be a stranger. There's a number of Q&As, but virtual. And in person, and our professors and students are really looking forward to hearing from you. So on that note, I want to wish you well, enjoy your day, and we look forward to welcoming you next September, hopefully, as a Trinity student.